Hello everybody, my name is behnam, and I want to make a cool edit for this photo and I hope you enjoyed it. For first, I should separate the subject in the background and after we start this tutorial. For the separation, I use quick selection and select subject to get a good selection for this subject. For improve the selection, I use the select and mask plugin, really helpful and practical. I choose brush tool. To fix the border, look at the borders, it's so worse. If you wanna clean some of the worst border, please press Alt or Option in your key, and after you can clean some of this mistake. For some of the space of the background like this, we can use the Refine Edge. This brush really helpful. Look at this. Just for click, we can clean the space. Okay, for right side, I use the global refinement for a smooth. I used to. It's helped the border so soft and better. For the feather, I use 1.5 pixel. This feather help to the border a little better. It's really helpful to our selection. In output setting, I use the contaminate color. The edge of the selection full of the near color for this method, but it's better you use near 40%, 50%, because more than this person it's so harsh and hard. And I get this selection in a new layer with the layer mask in output 2 and I press OK. Here you are. We get the selection in a new layer. I turn on the eye for the background and it's better we get a copy because if you have some of mistake, I have a base photo. Top of the old layer, in the adjustment, I use color balance for make a really cool and nice color for this photo. Pay attention, some of the color in the photo it's depend to your taste and also client. So it's not the same for every photo. Absolutely, the taste of the client and you, it's really important. I want to make a warm color, so I increase the red, a little magenta. Look at this line. When I decrease the number, I get a magenta color. And also I decrease the number and I get yellow color. Look at the effect before and after. Again, I go to the adjustment layer and I use the channel mixer. For the output channel, I choose the blue. And the blue line, I decrease the percent to the 0. And for green, I increase the percent to the 100. I get a kind of red or magenta theme. It's really cool for this type of the photo, but it's a little hard and harsh, so I increase the opacity to get better effect. Very nice. I make another layer top of the older layer. Look at the foreground of the color, it's black. If you wanna to have a default color, just press the D in your key and after you can get this default color. I press Hold or Option and Backspace in my key and after I get the black color for this layer. I go to the filter, render, and I choose lens flare. In this panel, you can choose a lot of effect and a lot of flare and I choose number 1. I can increase or decrease percent of the brightness for this effect. I think 90% it's okay for me for this photo and I press OK. To remove the black background, I just change blend mode. So I change the blend mode of normal to the screen. For this blend mode, I just get the lights. And the reason I made a black background and after I choose the lens flare top of the black background, it's related to this blend mode because when I change the blend mode of the normal to the screen, I remove the black background and I just get the lights. So it's so important you choose the best blend mode and best way to get a good final effect. I press Ctrl or Command and T to change the size for this light and also I change the position. I think in this position it's really nice. I press Enter and done. I make another layer. I press brush tool and I press the X in my key to change the foreground and background. Look at this. Foreground now it's white. Flow and opacity 100%. And I just left click in my mouse. I press Ctrl or Command T. I change the size and position to the left side. Pay attention to the beam of the light. In the basic of the photo, the left side of the photo get light. So when I want to make it the light to edit this photo, I should find the best side of the light, and in this photo, the left side is the correct position. Press enter. I increase the opacity to have a realistic light effect. I have some of smoke with a black background. It's really nice for my photo. If you wanted to download some of these effects, just search on a Google smoke with a black background. You find a lot of them in a lot of websites, and absolutely you can find free for a lot of them. I choose some of this effect and I use it in my photo. I press Ctrl or Command T to change the size and position for this smoke. And I told you, if you wanted to remove the black background, just change the blur mode of normal to the screen, and now you can get it. For first time, I need a layer mask for this layer, and I choose the brush with a black foreground. Flow and opacity is 100%, and I remove some of the harsh and hard border of this smoke and effect. If I wanted to get more effective for this smoke, down after this layer, I use the gradient to help me. For first time, I change the foreground and background. You can use X to get it this. And now I go to the adjustments and I choose the gradient. Look at the gradient. It's really important. The opacity stop. For the end of the gradient, it's be a 0 to get a really soft black gradient. I press OK. And now I change the blend mode of normal to color blur. I select the layer mask for this layer, press Ctrl or Command and I to invert this gradient after I choose the brush. And it's important your foreground is be white because your mask is black. Now I decrease the flow. I think 30 or 50 is okay. And I find a good position and side to darker this photo. Look at the smoke, guys. It's so nice. I choose this smoke again and I throw this under my photo, top of the old layer. I press Ctrl or Command and T. I change the position and the size to get a good result. I change the blend mode of the normal to the screen. It's so nice. I need a layer mask. I choose the brush with the black foreground and I kill in some of the harsh and hard border and done. I like it. I press Alt or Option, Ctrl or Command, Shift and E. This shortcut merge all the layer and give me all of them in a one layer top of the other layer. Okay? Right click in this layer and convert to the smart object because we want to use the camera raw, and when you have a smart object you can edit every time you want. I go to the filter and I choose the camera raw. For first time I need some of the mask, so I go to the masking. You can press M. I need a linear gradient. For first time in the left side I use a gradient like this. I increase the exposure, a little highlight and white. And for temperature, I increase the color to get a warm color. And the saturation really helpful for this result. I need another linear gradient. So I press the create new mask and I choose the new gradient. Now in the right side, I draw this gradient. I decrease the exposure, increase the contrast, decrease the shadow. Look at the number. When I decrease the number, I get a more darker for this place. Temperature a little warm and more saturation. I go to the edit. For the basic, I increase the temperature, more contrast, increase the highlight, shadow, white and black. It's helped me to make a more contrast for this photo. A little I increase the vibrance, and for the color mixer, in the hue we can change the color for this photo, and for saturation we can get a more effective color, so it's very important. For option I need a vignette, and done. Now you can see before and after for this edit and process. If you like this tutorial, like this video, subscribe my channel, and I wish you be rich and healthy. Have a nice time. Goodbye guys.